Hello, my friends. Today's journaling exercises are all about anxiety. So whatever it is you're feeling anxious about, for many of my clients, they can be feeling anxious about their writing, or they can be feeling anxious about their dreams and what people might think of them. They can be feeling anxious about job interviews. They can be feeling anxious about where their career is going. So whatever flavor your anxiety is taking at the moment, these two exercises are really going to help. I certainly know what anxiety feels like. So for me, these exercises are really great for taking you out of that place where you're just like really stuck, feeling bad about something, perhaps churning over those thoughts when you're trying to get to sleep, or even that experience that I can certainly have when I wake up, and it's literally like as soon as I wake up, all of those anxious thoughts come crashing in. So the two exercises that I'm going to take you through today, for me, they really help shift that perspective, and they start to enable me to see things in a way that feel a lot better, in a way that feel lighter. So the first exercise that we're going to do is taken from a quote by the painter Paul Gauguin. And the quote is, "I shut my eyes in order to see." Now, the reason I find this one so great when it comes to anxiety is because often if we're feeling anxious, what's happening is we're seeing things in our mind, we're imagining things that are creating a level of discomfort within us. So whatever sensation you have when you feel anxious, for some of my clients, they describe it as like fish swimming in their heart or insects scuttling over their flesh. So whatever experience you have when you're feeling anxious, usually one of the things that's contributing to that is what you're seeing in your mind. So the first exercise is really going to give you a beautiful tool to start to make you conscious of what you are seeing in your mind's eye that is causing discomfort, but also to make you able to start to really shift that vision so that you're starting to see things in your mind that feel good. You're starting to see things in your mind that bring an experience of pleasure or positivity. So the first thing that you're going to do is to simply think of an area that you're feeling anxious around. So it might be that you're feeling anxious around a writing project or something that's going on at work. It might be that you're feeling anxious around a relationship that you're in at the moment, or it might be that you're feeling anxious about something to do with yourself, perhaps the way you look or perhaps your health. So the first thing is to just decide on the area that you're feeling anxious around. Don't worry if it's more than one. I'm certainly like, oh, well, which one am I going to choose? But choose one, and then you can always come back and do the exercise for other areas that you're feeling anxious around. So just take a moment to write down the one area that you're going to focus on. Okay. So we're going to come back to that quote, "I shut my eyes in order to see." So Paul Gauguin was a painter. So he's shutting his eyes in order to see the visuals or the images that his imagination is coming up with, and that's what he's going to paint. So what he's seeing in his mind's eye is really inspiring to him. And so I want us to practice doing that. So I want for you to imagine in this area that you're feeling anxious about, if you were to close your eyes and see something in your mind's eye that made you feel positive or brought a lightness to you. Sometimes people describe anxiety as something that feels really heavy within them. So what would you need to see within this area in your mind's eye that would perhaps bring a sensation of lightness, or even a sensation of having wings and being able to fly on top of all of this stress? So this is the journal prompt. What would you need to see in your mind's eye in order to feel calm or safe, or simply feel the way that you want to feel? Now, I'm just going to say at this stage, because sometimes some of my clients will say to me, what do you mean see in my mind's eye? Like, I'm not sure that I do see things. So when we close our eyes and we imagine something, for some people, they literally do get a visual. They really have an experience of seeing something. So it might be that you see a specific object or a scene or colors. For other people, they may not necessarily see it, but they know that it's there. For other people, it might be more that they feel it, but again, they have a sense of the image of what it is that they're feeling. So they don't necessarily like see the image as if they're seeing it on a cinema screen, but they know it's there and they're getting a certain feeling from it. So there's no wrong or right way to see something in your mind's eye, but it's more about tuning into how that experience is for you. And that might be something that you want to explore in this journal prompt. We're going to go for 2 minutes, so just see what comes up. And I'm going to encourage you to just keep writing. Whatever comes into your mind, even if you're starting to say, I don't really know what I see, but you're putting that pen or that pencil onto the page and you're inviting the experience, you're inviting the creative moment to take place. So let's go together. What would you need to see in your mind's eye with reference to the area that you've chosen to enable you to feel calm or safe or positive or pleasurable in some way? So let's see what happens. Off you go. Okay, so finishing that first one off and just taking a moment to reflect. For me, whenever I do this exercise, and I noticed it again this time round, what I was describing that I would need to see, I'm like, that's not quite how I've been imagining it. So I chose to write down, I'm going on a van trip over the winter, and I'm feeling a little bit anxious about the fact that I'm going to be in my van and I'm going to be really cold. Now, for those of you watching, some of you might be like, that sounds a little bit trivial. But again, this is the thing about anxiety. There's no rational explanation. It makes sense to us. And for me, I do get anxious about feeling cold. It's a state that I don't enjoy being in. But I'd clearly taken it to a level that was not really beneficial. Like, I'm really looking forward to this van trip, but the fear of being cold has been like a slight thorn in my finger, affecting the enjoyment of the build up to the trip. And as I was journaling on it, journaling what I needed to see, I was like, I've not been imagining any of this. Like, I was journaling on being able to watch the sunrise from the van and like the kettle boiling and my dog really cozy and curled up in his bed and me really snug and warm in a blanket about to do my morning's meditation. And I was like, dude, I have not been imagining any of that good stuff. All I've been seeing is me sitting in my van, miserable and shivering. No wonder I've been feeling anxious about it. So for me, that that's why that journaling exercise is so simple, because it's a wake-up call to say, well, this is how you have been thinking about things. No wonder you've been anxious. If you start really focusing your mind and seeing things in this way, you see the difference it makes. So that's the first exercise, really becoming self-aware of how you need to be seeing things in your mind's eye so that you can feel safe and calm and pleasurable about the area that you might perhaps be feeling anxious about. So the next exercise looks at the way anxiety is about us worrying about how a situation is going to be. So here I am in this moment sitting at a table making a YouTube video, but I'm worrying about a moment, as in me in a van in the forest, that's going to be taking place in the future, but I'm feeling anxious about it now, even though that moment in the future isn't happening and may never happen. That's the second point. Whatever it is we're worrying about may never happen. But here's the thing, if someone says that to us, usually we want to just punch them. We're like, don't worry, it may never happen. That's not enough to really create that switch. But actually I find taking a couple of minutes to journal on that concept really does make a difference. So here's what we're going to journal on for the second prompt. What lovely outcome could you focus on preparing for? So as I said, we can worry about those situations because we're scared of what's going to happen. We're scared of what could take place if we're not prepared. So we end up preparing for the worst, but that means for the whole time we're imagining the worst. And so dread just keeps building and building. So what I want for you to do is to take a couple of minutes, still with the area that you've chosen. So I'm going to stick with my van trip, whatever area you've chosen, you're going to stick with it. And you're going to journal on the lovely outcome that you could actually be preparing for. So what lovely outcome in this area could you be preparing for? And again, let's just notice what happens. 2 minutes, off you go. Okay, so second 2 minutes, again, let's take a moment to reflect in terms of comparing what you wrote there in terms of what outcome, the lovely outcome you could be preparing for versus what you notice you have been thinking about. For me, there was such a contrast. As I was writing about what I could be preparing for, I was noticing in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't really started to plan the trip. And that made me realize I was leaving a lot until the last minute. So no wonder I was feeling quite anxious about it, because I knew that there was going to come a day, which is the day that I was going to be needing to leave for my trip, and I was going to be completely unprepared. So as I was journaling here, I was like, oh my God, there are so many lovely things that I could prepare for. Like I actually put like, it would be really nice to try out some new recipes that I haven't ever cooked before. So I thought, oh, I might investigate perhaps some new vegan cookbooks. I put, it's going to be really nice to take my kettlebells, because I was like, I've just been getting into kettlebell workouts. And I thought, oh my God, that's really fun. Like, I'm suddenly imagining myself in my van doing a kettlebell workout. So I was suddenly seeing new things that I could do that are going to bring me a lot of pleasure, which may not have actually even taken place because I was leaving everything until the last minute, which was going to mean like literally grabbing 3 things before having to head out the door. And often we can do that with our lives too. We can be so anxious about a particular area in our life. We're so busy imagining the worst that we're not actually preparing for the way we want it to go. So that means that we can end up being quite last minute about things or quite rushed about things. And so no wonder things don't turn out the way we want to. So there we go, my loves. 2 really simple journaling exercises, and I really hope that you were able to take that full 2 minutes to write alongside me and really get the benefit of how simple these exercises are, but the impact they have just in switching our perspective. And that perspective switch can be such a beautiful tool when it comes to anxiety. You're literally flipping the switch, and that's the experience I have with it. You're flipping that switch from really feeling quite stressed about something to flipping it and almost instantaneously feeling better about it. And I don't mean that lightheartedly, because I know how crippling anxiety can be. I certainly feel that crippling experience myself, which is why I love the simplicity of these 2 exercises. And you can come back to them over and over. And if you found this beneficial, if you were like, oh wow, you know, these exercises really, really helped, you're going to find plenty more of them on this channel, but also you're going to find plenty more of this kind of work in the community that I run for creative souls. So you'll find a link to the community below. There's a free version of the community, or there's a paid version if you want to go even deeper into your writing practice, into your creative practice, and into your career. So you can choose a version of the community that works for you, or you can simply binge watch the videos that are already on the YouTube channel. I'd love to hear back from you. Like, I'd love to hear some of the insights that you got from this video. So please do share in the comments below. For me, when someone has a breakthrough or when someone has a shift in perspective, I always appreciate when I get let into that experience. So do feel free to share anything that's come out of these 2 exercises, so we can have a bit of a dialogue about that. Wishing you a really beautiful week, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.